In this video, I'm going to take you through a tour of all of the clumping bamboo that I have growing in my backyard. My backyard is located just west of Phoenix in Maricopa County. We see temperatures in lows as low as 25 degrees Fahrenheit, but on average, we're more in the upper 20s in my area. I'm more on the outskirts of Phoenix, so we get a little colder. And then in the summertime, our highs can get up to 120. In fact, we had a lot of high heat this summer, a lot of days above 115. All the varieties that I'm going to show you in this tour that have been growing in my yard are suitable for this zone, as well as 9A, which is a little cooler than us. That would be the Tucson area. So do your research if you're colder than zone 9. There are some clumping varieties that might still work for your climate, but you definitely want to look at the cold tolerance when you're picking one out, as some of these varieties do not like freezing temperatures and do require a hotter climate, like here in the Sonoran Desert. A lot of the plants that I'm going to show you have been in ground in my yard since 2017, so a good 6 years growing in ground. So you'll be able to see what a mature footprint looks like. And then also you'll be able to see newer plants. So I've got some that I just recently planted, just within the last month. Just to clarify, all of these, again, are clumping varieties, not running. Clumping varieties are really very safe to grow in ground here in our climate. It means they're not going to spread too fast. They just slowly kind of clump out as the plant matures. There are many benefits to bamboo. One of the main reasons I planted bamboo in my yard was to create shade in the summer and also frost protection for plants in the winter time. They're a wonderful evergreen. They make great privacy screens, very beautiful in the landscape, gives it that tropical appearance. So let's start out here with this Seabreeze. This plant in particular has been in ground for 3 years. You can see I've got a lot of hardscape around it. So I keep this trimmed up a bit more just because I have a path going around it. It's more of a feature plant here. You can see that I do have edging material around it. That is a root barrier. Even though these are not invasive, I want to keep the feeder roots from going past this footprint and taking up water from my tropicals. I have a lot of sensitive tropicals back there. Totally optional, just something that I decided to do because I have sensitive plants nearby. I definitely don't have a root barrier on all of my plantings, but this one in particular is so close to my tropicals, I went ahead and put that in. So as far as Seabreeze goes, you can see it's a very straight bamboo, very tall. This one is around 20 feet tall. Can go even taller than that. Solid green cane or culm. Very dense, tight footprint on this one. Leaves are a little bit smaller, and I have several of these in my yard because I really do like this variety so much. It's a fast grower and it does well in our environment. Can take full sun. What I do want to point out is I used to have a clump of Oldhamii bamboo right over there. That is gone. I actually removed that clump with an axe. It was actually quite the job to get that done since it was a very mature one in the ground. And you can see I put hardscape over it and created like a little patio section for my sensitive tropicals. The whole reason I did that was just to expand this tropical section for my plants. I wanted a frame for cold protection and also to put on shade cloth during the summer. So that one I did take out, but I do have other clumps of Oldhamii in the yard. Here we can see another clump of Seabreeze. Again, very tall structure. Fantastic hedging material. This actually does provide lots of sun protection for these mangoes, because as you can see, it's taking the sun from the west, the afternoon sun, and providing shade to everything behind it. We're now walking towards the south side of my backyard. This area gets a bit more shade. Here we can see an example of Hamii, or giant timber bamboo. So unlike Seabreeze, this variety is going to be a little bit thicker on the cane size or culm size. These are around anywhere between 2 and 3 inches in our climate. They can get up to 4 inches in their ideal climate. This variety is quite tall. If you needed a gigantic hedge, block a 2-story home, or maybe an apartment, or some kind of commercial building from sight, this would really fit that well. So while these can get pretty large on height, you can see that the footprint is contained. The culms, for the most part, are fairly straight. There are some that veer slightly off to the side, but this is a great giant hedge type application for this bamboo. I do want to point out that with this variety, it does seem to be a bit more sun sensitive than others, meaning that it's not going to look its best in our summers. You can see what this past summer did to the leaves. It's bleached them white in some cases. So aesthetically, it's not going to look fantastic at the end of summer. It is dropping its leaves at this point and putting on new foliage, so it's not like it's a permanent state. But other varieties do much better with the sun than this one, I have found. But a beautiful bamboo. You can see as the culm comes out, it actually has this powder bloom on it, and then it comes into this solid green color. Diameter is not exceeding 5 feet, and this is its mature clump size. Here we see another mature clump of bamboo. This one's been in ground for 4+ years now. This is Asian lemon, one of my favorites. Just gorgeous coloring on the culms. You can see the yellow base with the green striping. Here's a brand new shoot coming in. You can see quite dense, the footprint. This one too is about 5 feet on diameter. Beautiful dark green, slender leaves. They're a bit more elongated than the other varieties. Stepping back, this bamboo has also reached a very tall stature. So this one's easily 20 feet. So again, great screening application, very wide cast branches. I wanted this at the back of my yard to screen out the neighbors. So you'll notice that I have quite a few different varieties planted here off the wall. This is a fairly new addition. This one was planted in spring. This is the Bambusa Gibba. This is what you can expect for the first year of putting a relatively small bamboo in the ground. So all of the culms that the plant came with when I planted it, they are all gone. Those were the small shoots, and you can see the ones that remain were all new growth from this year. And I'm finding that this year with our intense summer, things kind of went dormant during summer, and we're getting growth now in the fall, now that things are cooled down a bit. So you can see a new shoot coming in here. I'm finding with this variety that it's very similar to maybe a graceful bamboo. Culm size on this should be 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and I believe should reach about a 20-foot height. Top of the shoot is around 8 feet, but always the first year there's not going to be a whole lot of growth as these plants are focusing on putting roots in the ground. You'll see more action generally year 2 and beyond. This is my newest that I just put in. This one I got from Tropical Bamboo Nursery in Florida. And this is a very special variety. I really wanted a blue bamboo. I've heard that the Bambusa chungii really struggles in our heat. Have not seen anyone have really high success with that, but wanted a bamboo that really showed off that bloom for a long period of time, not just when a new shoot comes in, but holds that color. So this right here is a blue dolichomerithalla. And I haven't ever seen this variety available other than that one nursery in Florida. This was just put in the ground last month. So this obviously is a small plant right now. This went in as a 3-gallon. It was rooted out, but not really well rooted, so definitely a young plant. And you can see the culm size right now is pretty small on this variety. The reason I picked this is because I'm growing another variation of dolichomerithalla, the Silverstripe, that we're going to look at next. So I kind of already know what the species is like in our climate and that it does really well here. Unlike a chungii that really struggles and wants more of a tropical environment like Florida would provide. So excited to see how this one does. It was definitely a high investment between the shipping cost on this one as well as just the cost of the plant given the rarity of it. I believe this was released to the US in 2012. What appealed to me is this one is supposed to be more of a feature plant. Lower internodes are completely clear of branches, so you'll see that solid powder blue bloom on it, and then it has really nice dark foliage up on top and a nice tight clumper with a straight culm formation. So another really nice hedging type structure on this one. The leaves on this one are a little bit thicker, a little longer, but no bloom on this right now on these young shoots. So given this was just recently put into the ground, we're not seeing much here. It does look like I'm getting one small culm coming in now. Generally, the culms will start off quite small initially with the plant, and as it matures, it will get bigger over time. So not a whole lot to show you right now, but just good to document, what this looked like at this point this year, so we can see the comparison value next year. We were just right there looking at the blue dolichomerithalla. Right next door is a related variety, which is the Bambusa dolichomerithalla Silverstripe. This is another one of my favorite plants. It has quite a tight structure. You can see not a whole lot of gapping in between the culms on this one. This has also been in the ground for about 4 years. Here we can see a new culm shooting right here. And the thing that's interesting about this variety is that it gets a stripe, a white or silver stripe, right on the culm. So you can see that white stripe or silver stripe on the culm. You can just see how small that footprint is, and yet how wide this casts. So another beautiful variety for a screening application. Much like the blue dolichomerithalla, this one does not have branches low, so it has that cleaner cane look on the bottom, and then you can see it branches up higher. And it's very straight. It's just that they're so tall, the branches, that they do have a tendency to weep over, like you can see there. That is the Silverstripe. It's been in ground for about 4 years now. So again, I planted these mainly for the application of providing a screen. You can see they do a really good job of that. They're protecting the inner garden here a bit from wind. But it's a really nice way of adding just a living green wall at the back. So I have bamboo incorporated throughout my yard. You can see that I flanked the pathway with bamboo. We can see a clump here on this side as well as over here. Now, in past videos, if you've seen this area, you saw huge clumps of Bambusa Oldhamii. And those are still the varieties I've got here that I'm showing you. But the reason why they don't look towering and large like they used to is because I completely cleared them down to the ground at the end of August. That's why this area looks far more open. So I did a video on, why I cut these down, but just briefly, they got really badly damaged from the sun. A lot of sun damage, bleaching, and actually just the culm turning from the nice green color to brown. So really not a good situation for the plant. Once the culm turns brown, it's really not going to be putting on any more new growth, so it's best to cut it out. So I had so many in that state, it just made sense to start over and reset this. You can see it's come back really nice. So again, the application here was to shade this area, this path, from the intensity of our summer sun, summer afternoon sun. Approaching the west wall, I have another variety, again using this as a privacy screen. I've got some two-story homes behind me here, and I wanted to block that view. So this variety that you see in front, this is about 3 years old. This is the Asian lime, so it's very much related to the Asian lemon, but it's the inverse of that variety. Now it's not going to be real clear when I show you the culms because of, again, our summer bleached them out, so they actually appear yellow right now, but when they shoot new culms, they're actually a green color, as you can see. And they develop yellow striping. So on this culm here, we can see the yellow stripe coming through the middle of that culm, and it's green. This yellow is just the paper, that's protecting it, that will fall off eventually. These are only yellow just because, again, the sun hits this pretty hard from the west and it bleached them out. So the shape on this variety is not straight. It does have a tendency to shoot them more towards the side, which gives you more of a cone type shape, which in hindsight probably wasn't the best variety to put in this space, just because I do have a covered patio here and you can see it's starting to clobber that. This would have probably been better suited to have that Silverstripe bamboo or something from the dolichomerithalla family, where it's really, really tight clumper and very straight. But this will still work for me. It's just a matter of having to do a little bit more pruning maintenance, so that you're not having those culms hitting your structures. Okay, right off the patio to the right, we can see another clump. This one was planted again for blocking a two-story home. This is another example of Seabreeze. A younger example, this one's only 2 years old. And finally at the 2-year mark, it's really starting to grow, and we're getting those large culms shoot up here where it's around the 15-foot mark on some of these new shoots. So this one's really going to take off in year 3 and really provide that coverage that I'm looking for. And the final clump to show you is the one in front here. This is a standard form of Buddha-belly. This is not the dwarf Buddha-belly, but the one that gets to 30 plus feet tall. Does not have the exaggerated Buddha-belly type culms on this one. Excellent arching type canopy plant. So if you really need to fill in a large wide space, this one's great for that. The arch on this one is going a good 20 feet, so you really have to have the space for this one. But it does have more of that umbrella canopy. And this one's been in the ground again for 6 years. So mature clump at this point. And And we can see the footprint on this one's about 6 feet in diameter. And as you can see down here, they're not all going straight. Just like I mentioned, this zigzags more. So it's really best if you can give it more space, you know, maybe in the middle of your yard, not where I've got this one located. When I planted these, initially I didn't know their characteristics that much, their growing characteristics here in the desert. So I've kind of lived and learned on that and would have maybe located different varieties in different spots now that I know. But if you are looking to put bamboo in your yard, hopefully this gave you some ideas of different varieties that do well and their growing characteristics. I hope you enjoyed this tour. If you do have questions about any of these varieties or just clumping bamboo in general, please put them in the comments section. Thanks for watching and happy gardening.